Good morning. Good afternoon now, everybody. Oh, here we go. Everybody's arriving thick and fast. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Britta. Hi, Bruce. Hi, Dave. Got 2 days. Deirdre, Derek, Mark, Ranjan, Ryan, Sarah. Wow. I think this is the fastest I've ever seen everybody enter one of our sessions. That's so quick. Welcome. I hope your Monday morning is as exciting as ours has been. We've got lots going on this morning and indeed this whole week. So I'm very excited to bring you this Monday morning networking session. Today we'll be doing a quick lesson, some quick tips on overcoming procrastination to meet your goals. But just for a few minutes, we're going to give everybody an opportunity to join. And whilst we do that, we're going to just talk about a couple of the things that we've got going on. There's going to be a great competition. I have got a whole shed load of books here to give away, which we will be giving away to the people who interact the most. So let's start there. Can we just have a quick in the chat where you are joining from? I'm going to change my view so I can see your screens. Where are you all joining from? Wow, here we go. Caesar for London, Andrew from Salford, just up the road. Hi, Nathan. Nathan all the way from Somerset. I like it. I do love it when we get them very far afield. Maureen from Milton Keynes. Gosh, it's whizzing through so fast. Apologies if I don't get to you. Amanda from sunny Kent. Whereabouts in Kent are you, Amanda? That's my neck of the woods where I was brought up as a youngster. And Maria from Runcorn, just up the road from us here. We're just down, as I'm sure you know, Maria, we're just down in Frodsham, just down the road. And then, from Maidstone. I've got lots of family around Maidstone and Shaw Street. Tell's calling in from Enfield. Excellent. Right, we're up to 44 people. Let's just give it another couple of minutes. So before we start today's session, which is going to be on overcoming procrastination, it's just going to be some tips and tricks, some things to think about that will hopefully make your week more productive. Let me ask you one quick question, which would be, if this week was your best week ever, by Friday, what would you have accomplished? If this week was your best week ever, by Friday, what would you have accomplished? Now, just to set the stage, I have got 6 really important YPN phone calls to make. And we've got 2 deals that we are chasing up, one which is a phone call and one which is an email. So though that doesn't sound like a lot, but those calls, the YPN calls, have been a bit of a frog. Should have done them last week, really. And because they are a bit of an unknown entity, it's not a call that I'm used to making. Sadly, I can't go into too much detail. But as a result, I have absolutely avoided it on Thursday and Friday. So this week, I will not do that. So in the chat, by Friday, we've got Simon retirement. Nice one, Simon. I'm not sure we can get you. Well, I don't know. How close are you to retirement? That would be a bold one. I like it. But Michelle and I are currently reading The Magic of Thinking Big, and that would definitely be under the Thinking Big. That's wonderful. Vic, found my next property to buy, purchased my next property. Bruce, hi Bruce, nice to see you. I would have a deal. Amanda Evans, updating my business plan, securing my first deal from Maureen. Sold an 11-bed HMO from Andrew. Hopefully that is already in train, Andrew. That sounds like a fun one, actually. Mortgage offer confirmation from Mon. Mortgage offers. I don't think we can guarantee anything around mortgage offers. We all know how problematic the whole finance side of this business is, but we can cross our fingers. Make a decision on a partnership or not from Neil. That sounds like an interesting one as well. So making a decision, that's not something that I'm going to cover today, actually, on this procrastination one. But actually, the next level up of procrastination awareness and fixing it is understanding that most procrastination boils down to a decision, usually an unmade decision. That's really interesting, Neil. Thank you. Make a decision on a partnership or not, as the case may be. Find a new deal. Derek has just said that's a great book. Which one, Derek? Eat the Frog or Jackie's Focus Your Way to Freedom? Or indeed, Daniel Priestley's Key Person of Influence. So I am going to award the first book to Neil. Neil Jones. Pop in the chat. Which book would you like? Focus Freedom, Key Person of Influence, or Eat That Frog? Which one do we want? And Ruby will take a note. Focus to Freedom. That's on your way, Neil. That's on the way to you. Ruby will connect privately and just get the address you'd like that sent to. So Caesar, follow up with vendors. Caesar, yes, following up with vendors is one of those jobs that we just have to get on with. So how are we doing? 56 people online. I think it's time to start. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to do a quick lesson on some tricks for overcoming procrastination, and then we'll go to the networking. Hopefully, this will give you a nice icebreaker that you can open all the conversations with, and also the normal networking outcomes, which I will recap at the end. Right. Amanda Evans has just said, I read Jackie's book in less than 7 hours and went to bed at 2 a.m. It's very good. Jackie is currently running her retreat in, I want to say Spain, and it looks amazing. We're very sad not to be out there. But yes, right. So let's talk about procrastination. Now, at the very seat of procrastination is your commitment to making something happen. So what you need to do is you need to commit fully to what you are looking to achieve. The first stage to that is reflecting on how procrastination is impacting your life, both positively and negatively, and visualize your future without procrastination. Now, this sounds like a really simple thing, and I know that we are often told that we should be visualizing things, and it can sound a little bit woo-woo. However, visualization is really important, and it definitely works. And I'll explain to you why it works. For any of you who are familiar with the Tony Robbins way of thinking and his taxonomy, dare I say, when you visualize something, your brain activates its RAS, its reticular activated system. And what that does is it looks out for patterns. So if you think that something, if you are going to go and buy a car, let's say you decide to buy somebody put a chat in the car, put a car in the chat, please. First one to put a car in the chat, any car, an Audi, what color is it? Ryan's gone straight in with Ferrari. And Babs, key person of influence, on its way straight to you. Thank you very much, Ruby. Please grab Babs's details. So if somebody says to you, I'm going to just pick a slightly less fancy car, so we'll see more of them. If somebody said a black BMW, you will see black BMWs. Now, I'm going to prove this to you, okay? Today, and for the next 3 days, I promise you, when you're driving around, you will see a black BMW and think, wow, that's my reticular activating system. I promise you, you will see a black BMW and your brain will go straight to it. It will go, that is my reticular activated system. Not a Nissan Note, Andrew. Thank you very much. Not a Nissan Note. So that visualization piece is really important because you are telling your brain what to look out for. And when you do that, your brain will look out for solutions. And even more than that, if you focus on it before you go to bed, if you visualize it before you go to bed, your brain will work on the problem while you're asleep. And you'll often wake up with that epiphany, with that aha moment. Research says writing down your goals makes them 42% more likely to happen. 42% just simply by writing them down. Now, obviously, once you've written them down, you have to act upon them. However, I've got my super little tiny tip for you, right? This comes from Jordan Peterson, which is one of the ways that people self-sabotage when they are trying to build a fantastic life is they try and make the plan too grand, and they try and envisage this amazing, huge thing that they need to build, or these things that they need to do, and all of the steps that they need to do, that they need to take to get there. But actually, the only step that matters is that very first step. And that step can be as small as opening a document or reading a first page, or if you're writing a book, writing the first line can be enough to get you started. Now, we'll talk more about this in a minute, because we have in our YPN team with me and Michelle and Ruby and Jean and Ivy and Kej, we have a concept called the GSD, which we'll get to. But once you get started with that very first step, often that's enough to get the ball rolling, especially if that very first step isn't done very well. Now, this is counterintuitive. One of the reasons that people usually go slow or don't start is because they're worried about doing things badly. But if you do a bad version quickly, you will want to fix it. And in fixing it, you will make it better. And then when you do that, it will become a good version. So the most important thing you can do is just take that very tiny first step. That's often all it takes. Now, next on to the triggers for procrastination. So I think everybody probably already knows that negative emotions, fear, anger, sad, hurt, guilt, shame sometimes. It could be feelings of being an imposter, thinking that you're not the kind of person that does that kind of thing. Yes, thanks, Simon. Make mistakes quickly and cheaply. It's important. So negative emotions can be a trigger for procrastination, and it's really important that you are aware of them. And in being aware of them, you can then overcome them, or you can feel them and still do the thing anyway. There's a great book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I can't remember. I think it might be Brené Brown. I'm not sure. But it's really important. The first stage is to identify what that is. The next one is far-reaching rewards. If your rewards are too far in the future, or if they're too small, they are not going to keep you motivated. Susan Jeffers, Feel the Fear. There you go. Thank you, James. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Thank you, Derek. I love this group. Like we're all the same tribe. It's so lovely that we've read the same books. So without a clear goal, the motivation can dwindle. And obviously, like I think the closer that we are to the goal, the more that we feel. Now, the last one is obviously a lack of self-discipline. Self-discipline is a whole separate piece, which I could do a whole session on, and I would love to do a whole session on. Maybe we will in the future. But self-discipline is a muscle, and it's something that you need to practice and build up. We haven't got time for that today, but self-discipline, in the same way that you should start with tiny things, self-discipline happens when you've made hundreds and hundreds of votes for the kind of person that does that thing. So, for instance, going to the gym is a really good one. It's an easy one that everyone can relate to. So you might not want to go to the gym because you're not going to have time to do your full 45-minute workout, but actually just walking through the door ticks the box of going to the gym. So if you absolutely don't feel like it, you still get changed, get ready to the gym, go to the gym, walk through the door, walk on the treadmill for 1 minute, and then leave. And then you are still the person, the type of person that goes to the gym every day or 3 days a week or whatever is your plan. So yeah, I'm not going to go into self-discipline as much as I'm sure you can tell that I absolutely would love to. But here's the top tip when it comes to procrastination triggers and indeed kind of rewards. Andrew's saying it's too easy to make excuses not to go. Yeah, Andrew, this is the point. You need to have 2 bars. Okay, you need to have your ideal bar at the top. This is what I would like to do. And then you have your absolute minimum. I cannot not achieve this bar. So in the essence of the gym, it's that the top bar might be I want to run 5K, do a 20-minute workout and some stretching. And the bottom bar might be I walk through the door and do 1 minute on the treadmill. If you were writing a book, your top bar might be, I would like to do 3 hours of productive writing, or I would like to write 600 words. And then your bottom bar is, I will write 3 terrible sentences. And they can be gibberish, but I'm going to sit at my computer and write 3 terrible gibberish sentences. Because in doing so, you may be able to write 3 terrible sentences once. You might even be able to do it twice, but there's no way you're going to do it. That 3rd time, you're going to try and do a bit better. And then once you've written it, you're going to want to improve it. And then you're getting your momentum. Another great tip actually is working out whether you are towards or away from. Now, can I have a quick hands in the chat? Who is aware of towards and away from motivation? And if you know, which are you? Are you towards or are you away from? Sarah's no, Derek's towards, Martin's no. Oh, we've got lots of away from. No, we've got a few people who don't know. Oh, good. Goody, this is exciting. Right. Okay, great. So fundamentally, there are 2 primary sources of motivation, and they are towards pleasure or away from pain. Almost all human action is either moves you towards some kind of pleasure, a positive outcome, or away from pain, away from a negative outcome. So understanding which you are, James has just asked, can you be both? You can be both, James, in different situations. That's a really great question, because most psychological profiling, people have different profiles in different situations. You can be a different person at home than you can be at work. For instance, you can be a very different person with your children than you would be with your subordinates or with the higher ups. So we often have different characters that we become in different situations, and they can have different motivations. So I'll give you the example of money is probably the most basic one that everybody will get. You can have 2 people who are very, very motivated to make a lot of money, and they can be motivated by completely different things. The first person, and interestingly, I'm going to overshare here now. So I am very much a towards person. I like a big picture and I like moving towards huge goals. Okay, so I'm excited by the prospect of earning lots of money on a deal. Okay, whereas I know that there are many other people who are motivated by the fear of not having any money. Now, the fear of not having money pushes you towards having money in the same way that the desire to have money pulls you towards money. Now, the problems with these, because they both, as with all things, there are positives and negatives with both of them. One of the problems with being away from motivated is you tend to get cyclical. In the example of money, you'll work really hard to earn money. And then once you've got it, you're no longer motivated by money because you're not scared of not having it. So usually being a terrible human, because we're all broken, you will then self-sabotage because you need to have a mission. So you'll have people who are away from, who earn lots of money, and then they'll go bust, or they'll make a bad decision so that they've got no money again, so that they're back on the mission to earn money again. And you see this in business all the time. You see businessmen like Trump is a great example, somebody who earns lots, loses lots, earns lots, loses lots. Whereas people who are towards will keep going until they get the amount of money that they want, and then generally will stay there because they don't, now that they've achieved their goal, they don't need that. They look for motivation in other things. So it is argued that towards is a more healthy long-term motivation. However, in my experience, and I've coached lots of people like this, there is nothing better than a good away from. If somebody is really scared of something to happen, that will kick you into action much faster than any towards ever will. It's the tiger turning up at the cage, at the cave that you're in. Like, you go into fight or flight, you will work incredibly hard. So understanding which is your motivation, whether you are a towards person or an away from person, is really important, because then you can consider in your goals what, if you're a towards person, what the winning looks like, what you will achieve, what you will get. Can you recommend a book for this, May? Yeah, of course. Yeah. I will. Mayra, can you send me an email? I know you've got my email, and then I'll pick you out too. It's the basics of NLP, actually, neuro linguistic programming, which is fantastic. I will. Not only will I recommend a book, Mayura, I will send you one of my books. I've got a whole bookshelf full of this. So Andrew's saying that he is away from, for sure. That's great, Andrew. But you need to be aware that once you have won, that you need to be aware that you don't self-sabotage. Yeah. And Brian's saying the same. His excels when your back's against the wall. It's human nature. Yeah, of course. So then you map out your goals, and then you either put the consequences in front of you, or you consider, you put the consequences behind you, or you put the possibilities in front of you. Frogs to Princes, Richard Brandler. Oh, maybe. I haven't read that one actually, Mon, although Richard Brandler obviously was the guy who, well, one of the two people that created NLP. Right, next up, can you send us all a list on here? Otherwise, I'll send you an email as well. I'll send an email to everyone after the session with a couple of books on NLP. I highly recommend neuro-linguistic programming to everybody. Everybody should have a very light understanding of NLP, because it's about communication and how you deal with yourself. Right. Procrastination activities in the chat, everybody. When you're procrastinating, when you are doing something else instead of the thing that you should do, in the chat, what is everybody's favorite procrastination activity? What have we got? Doom scrolling. Yes. Reading emails. Yeah. Going swimming. That's a healthy one, Brian. Scrolling, making a brew. Me too, Andrew. Making a coffee is one of my go-tos. Going for a walk, Dorothy. That's a healthy one. Sing a song, I'm guessing that is. Anything else? Playing chess, Martin. Very good. I'm guessing that's on an app. That's just a quick game of chess. Silly games on the phone. Anything but the task. Say my wife, she's got jobs to do. Living life dangerously there, Derek. Very dangerous. iPad. Anything less important. General avoidance. TikTok. Tea, coffee. Yes, chess.com. Martin, what's your chess.com handle. Drop it in the chat. I'd like to. I'll send you a. I'll send you a request, and we can both procrastinate together. So TikTok is fatal. Yes, TikTok is absolutely fatal. So most of these have come under enjoyable low effort activities, social media, games. Do you know what I love to do? I absolutely love to clean the kitchen. I really love it when the kitchen's clean. I cook a lot. And often I'll walk through and think, oh, what if somebody turns up? I'm just going to make this place spotless. It's an absolute waste of time. Like our cleaner comes on Wednesday. I can absolutely leave like the actual cleaning of the kitchen for the cleaner. However, I still do it in order to avoid doing things. Busy tasks that can become a form of procrastination. We've had reading emails up there. That's a great example. Cleaning your desk, cleaning your office, cleaning your son's bedroom as well. But at least he benefits from that, Derek. At least he benefits from that. Socializing, I guess that's kind of a bit what the chess thing is as well. Is another way to focus on tasks. And then a funny one, which people may not think is procrastinating, but just dreaming, fantasizing about goals without taking any action. Now, there's a big difference between dreaming and planning, strategizing. Now, if at the end of your dreaming session, you come out with a list and they've all got dates and you put it in your diary, that's not a dream. That is good quality work. That, I would argue, is probably the highest quality work, where you are working on your business, you're working on your dreams, making sure your ladder's against the right wall, putting in deadlines, working out how you're going to do stuff. That's great. Oh, big, hairy, audacious goals, Rajesh. Yes. I guess it depends on what rings your bell. I think if you were to draw a Venn diagram of those two things, there's a huge crossover. Yeah, Dorothy, dreaming but not doing the work. That's where dreams go to die, in your head, when you don't do the work and make them big. But yeah, Rajesh, so I'm a fan of SMART goals when it comes to like projects. However, I find it a bit convoluted, and I think that I'm so used to it now that that they are naturally smart for me. But those sheets where you actually write in your SMART goals, I think are magic. Anything like that that's going to encourage you to actually take action is wonderful. So once you have identified your procrastination activities, if anyone can guess this, you win a book. Get ready. Once you have identified your activities, what should you do? Act on them. Stop them. Write them down. Do the hardest task first. Start the leg work. Control the urge. Do them. Plan when to take action. Prioritize. Eat that frog. Take action. So this question is more about, now that we have identified how you procrastinate, what your activities are, what should you do? Having ADHD makes this a lot harder. It's absolutely right, Jack. Although on a positive, Jack, when you get into a task, you tend to get right into it, right? Split the task into smaller things. Okay, well, I think I must have asked this question really badly because none of you are anywhere near close. What I meant was, what do you do about the procrastination activities? And the answer is you remove them from your environment. There you go, Simon. Hold on, Simon. I think you typed that in as soon as I showed you it on the slide. You're not winning a book on that one, I'm afraid, Simon. Nice try, though. So I'll give you a great example. I also procrastinate by going and making a brew. I'm not sure who said that earlier, but I think that's a really common one. In fact, I know that's a really common one. So in the mornings, I go and work in an office in the top of the house, which is way away from the kitchen. And the first thing I do is I make myself 2 cups of tea. And I've got, hold on a second, everybody, wait there. Oh, I've got these wonderful tea warmers. So when you've made yourself a cup of tea, you put that on it, it kind of vacuums and it keeps your tea nice and hot. So, Keith, don't you dare go make a brew. You stay here. So in the morning, in order to make sure that I get that first hour without a break, I make myself 2 cups of tea. They're absolutely magic, Amanda. It's just like a little bit of plastic, but it keeps the tea hot. It's amazing. I've got 2 of them actually. So if I'm going for a big session, I will make 3 cups of tea, and I'm not joking you. I will make 3 cups of tea. So by doing that, I'm setting myself up. I've got everything in my environment. I'm in the top of the house. I'm away from the kids. I'm not going to be distracted, and I don't need to make a cup of tea. So, Flask 2.0, exactly, Martin. That's what that is. Mate, I hadn't even thought about a flask. Do you know what, Martin? You can't drink tea from a flask. It has to be in a cup. I think tea from a flask just isn't the same. It's not right. Spicy chai. Yeah, maybe. So remove those procrastination activities and then make them your reward. Do you know what? I hadn't planned any of this actually, as you can see by the fact I had to leave the desk. But another thing that I've got here is a timer, and I just set it for how long I need to do a task for. Press go, and it counts down. And then at the end of that, I will give myself a reward. That reward might be 20 minutes on Instagram as a brain break. Not just scrolling, like we have work to do as well. I've got messages to reply to, and we've got like the Property and Entrepreneur Summit going on and things like that. But that's very much a procrastination activity for me. So I make it a reward. Once I've finished, yes, the Pomodoro technique using the timer. Exactly right. One saying an egg timer will do if you've got jobs that you can just do in 3 minutes, I think, Mon, unless you've got an egg timer that does more than 3 minutes. There you go. What's this? Sometimes a boring break can make your work more interesting. Absolutely. I read somewhere that there was a writer who would go and book a hotel room and sit there and do nothing but writing. And the deal was if he or she wasn't writing, they would just sit there at the desk until they were so bored that they would write. I think it was Tim Ferriss, on a Tim Ferriss interview, that I heard that. So by doing that, you're turning your procrastination activities into rewards. What a great thing to do. So you still get to do them, but you get to do them after your work has been completed, and you'll feel great about it. Right. Finding the cause of procrastination, as with all things, you must be curious. So, like, if you approach it like a detective, identify the key points where procrastination begins and understanding the underlying causes. If any of you get into the whole NLP thing, figuring out triggers and putting a different trigger before them is magic for this. I haven't done it successfully myself, but I've seen it work with other people. If you can identify what it is that is the beginning of the bad mistake towards procrastination and choose a different path at that point, I've seen that work really well. So what you need to do is you need to reflect on past experiences and then discover the patterns that lead to procrastination. Why do you need to do that? Why do you need to think about it? Let me tell you. Do you know what? Barry's just said, put your timer on your own iPhone. I can't have it on my iPhone because my iPhone is a procrastination item. So I have to put my phone away, out of sight. I have WhatsApp on my computer, but I don't have my phone on my desk if I need to do work, Barry. I think that's an absolute temptation, and I need to move the temptation as far away as possible. I in fact don't pick up my phone until kind of 8 o'clock in the morning, for fear of my brain. Like, I'll end up looking at Instagram or looking at X, and then I think about it more throughout the day. Whereas if I just avoid it in the morning, I'm much better. So in the chat, why should you try and work out and be curious about the kind of the triggers and the causes of procrastination? why is it worth reflecting on past experiences and discovering the patterns? So you can be more productive, so you can reduce or eliminate. Yep. So analyzing, so you can avoid them. Yep. Introspection is always good. It is, yes. So you understand and move forward, more productive, move them, stop them. It's the only way you learn how to change. Understanding the root cause. Yeah. So I've got a big thing here, and I was in two minds whether to put this in the session. Now, it's something I'm very comfortable saying to people, like in a coaching situation where you've got time to really get into it and explain it. However, we haven't got that much time, but I'm going to have a go. Okay. When you name the demon, you take its power. Now, this is an age-old idea. It obviously goes back to biblical times and it's in mythology throughout. And whether you're dealing with demons or witches or whatever, the idea is that if you can name something, you can take its power. Now, I understand that metaphorically, that is absolutely correct. If you can see something that's happening and give it a name, it's much easier to understand it and to notice when it's happening. So this works with, like, let's say you've got a troublesome family member. If they exhibit a behavior that you struggle with, it's a bit like when you have an illness. What do you mean, Mon? When you name it? Yeah, I guess yes. Yeah. So if you see somebody exhibiting a behavior and you can give it a name and you understand what it is. So let's say somebody is very negative about a particular situation, but you realize that that's coming from a place of fear for them, then you can be empathetic and say, oh no, like they're fear monsters in charge. So even though they're being negative and I'm not enjoying this interaction, it's not really them. It's not really their fault. It's just their fear monster who's taken control. It's like that movie Inside Out with when you've got the different characters inside your brain. Like their fear monster is taking over, and that's fine. So we're going to cut them some slack. Just in having that language, it makes it easier for you to deal with it. I wonder if that resonates with anyone. Now, there's a pro tip here that if you do believe that and you do understand that that you can by identifying what something is and giving it a title and actually seeking to understand it, you can take all of its power away. Then the pro tip here, and this is magic, we do this if we're helping people who like have arachnophobia or a fear of flying or a fear of water, we use this technique in it with them when we're breaking the patterns. Not only do you name the demon, but you give it a silly name. So if your procrastination is for a book, first procrastination thing in the chat, please. Who's got the first procrastination one in the chat? Who's going to go? First type of procrastination? Anyone? I'll do it later. Online shopping. Okay, good. Amanda's online shopping. Sounds like an expensive one, Amanda. So what could you call the your online shopping procrastination that would be funny? Something that would be silly or funny. This is for you, Amanda. I'm talking directly to you. Let's give it a silly name. So when you feel compelled to open the expense monster. So here you go. Amanda, describe the expense monster to me. What does it look like? Oh, I'm really excited about this. This is going to be revolutionary for you, Amanda. And we'll check in like on the next webinars when we see you. Big hairy, decimates bank balances. What color is it? Witch for the West, the mother-in-law. It's purple. And what does it smell like? Oh, there's a big pause. New boxes. This is very linear. I like it. So the next time, Amanda, the next time that you notice you're feeling compelled to do some online shopping, you will know that that big, hairy, terrible monster, that big purple monster that smells like Amazon boxes, is here to decimate your bank balance. And then you'll see that, and your brain will just go to that big purple hairy monster, and you'll like visualize it smashing your bank balance. And hopefully you might find that that's enough to just hold it off. Just hold it off. And the great thing about procrastination is if you can just hold it off for 3 minutes, it usually goes away. So if you can become aware of it, set your timer for 3 minutes, put it on your desk and just do nothing for 3 minutes. In Amanda's case, think about that big purple hairy shopping monster decimating her bank balance. Just think about it for 3 minutes. It will pass. And then you won't be compelled to do those things. I'm going much slower than I thought. I'm going to speed up a bit so we've got some time for networking at the end. So the last thing we're going to talk about is procrastination excuses. I work better under pressure. I wait till I feel inspired. I have plenty of time. I'll start later. All of these excuses do often contain an element of truth. It's important to accept that, but they do end up leading you towards unhelpful conclusions. Please drop anything here in the chat. Oh, here we go. Love it. Right. So what do you do about these excuses? It's as simple as list your excuses and then the truthful counter statement. So for instance, let's have in the chat, who's got some procrastination excuses that they tell themselves? They can be the ones from the slide. Better if you've got a new one though. What excuses do you tell yourself? I need to shop for milk. I'm not sure I can do the counter statement to that. I guess the counter statement, Dorothy, would be, I can go for milk when I finish my work. I am overwhelmed. Sean, that's a good one. I am overwhelmed. I'll do it later. I need another cup of tea first. Tea's a theme here. I need to know more, Mayura. That's a good one. I think so. Mayura, I'm going to zoom in on you because that's a good one. I need to know more. The counter statement would be, I know enough to get started. I know enough to write the first sentence. I am overwhelmed, Sean. I am overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed could maybe be, I know the first step. I know the first step, and I'm going to do that first. And if you just lay that first brick, the second one becomes obvious, and then the third. Overwhelm is generally caused by a lack of decision. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, there's probably something that you need to make a decision about. I'm going to help you out here. I'm going to share one of our secret team tricks, which leads to an interesting grammatical question. You ready? We use a concept called the SFD. Right, I've got a book for anyone who knows what SFD stands for. It's very unlikely. Anyone? Anyone? Get shit done. That would be GSD. It's close, Mayura. SFD. SFD starts gunshot. we're shooting wild now. And SFD is a shitty first draft. Now we have this concept within our team, which is whenever we want to do something, we want to knock out the shitty first draft as fast as we can, and we expect it to be no better than 30% good. And then that's our benchmark. From that, we move on to the second draft, the third draft, and the final draft. So I encourage you to embrace the idea of the shitty first draft, and I promise you it will change your life. If you sit down at your computer with something to do that you're not sure about, give you a great example because we do this with people, websites. People get overwhelmed with websites. So when we help somebody or coach them do a website, what we'll do is a shitty first draft. Let me tell you how easy that is. Pick a website that you like and then just write your words over the top of every section. That's it. That's your shitty first draft done. You've now got a website with 6 sections and your shitty first draft of the writing in each section. And then we give that to the designer. The designer puts that up as a website, and then you go back and you do your second draft. But if you don't do that, I'll tell you what you do. You sit there for 90 minutes looking at a million different website themes, and then you close your laptop having done nothing. Who knows that that's true? You can't put hands up, I don't think. True. I have trees in the chat, please. If anyone who here has done that with a website, Simon's bingo, overwhelmed. Yes, true, me, true. Mayura, I've got hundreds of tabs. I'm also a tab monster, I'm afraid, Mayura. I do like to have lots of tabs open. So that's it. So this is it. You just need to do your shitty first draft. If you embrace your shitty first draft, honestly, that one thing will change your life. So in conclusion, here we go. I don't even know what's on the conclusion slide. Let's have a look. Breaking down the cycle of procrastination is possible with awareness. Write down your goals, commit, and start with the tiniest action. Just the tiniest action. Recognizing your triggers, your excuses, and your activities, put them all out of reach. Visualize your success or your failure if you're away from. It's really important. Make sure that you're motivating yourself in the right way, and then take your first steps towards your goals. And then embrace the 30-minute shitty first draft. There isn't anything that we do that you can't do a shitty first draft of within 30 minutes. Anything. I challenge you. You could give me a contract, heads of terms, whatever it is, we can put together an SFD. And honestly, once you have done that, once you've done that 30 minutes and your SFD, you will feel so motivated to fix your mistakes. And fixing your mistakes is much easier than clicking the end of the pen and starting to write. So just click the pen, shitty first draft, and then go back and fix it afterwards. And pro tip, the quicker you start, the faster you learn, the further you go. Somebody said this earlier, like fail fast, fail cheap, fail forward. That's it. There we go. I like the GOYA strategy. Get off your ass. Yeah. It's the same. It's the same thing with a different name, Peter. Basically, it's get started. Call it what you will, but just do it. Like 30 minutes, SFD, and you are good to go. So I haven't got a Q&A slide. Has anybody got any questions that they'd like before we move into the networking? Love this session. Thanks. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. I love this too. I've done it for like 15 years outside of property. Like this isn't part of our property things. Amazing. Thank you. Great session. Oh, thanks. This is really lovely. But have we got any questions? Is there anything I can help with? Books on NLP, not NAP. Diana. I will send it. Yeah, we'll send out a little book list after the session, and maybe some YouTube recommendations as well. Right, great. Well, thank you all so much for entertaining the procrastination session. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, we'll send the NLP books. Any help on wealth dynamics? That's a great question. So we're a massive fan of wealth dynamics. And I'm not going to go into it now. So wealth dynamics is a whole separate thing. We will do a session on wealth dynamics. What I'll do is in the follow-up email, I'm going to put a button that says, if you want to know about wealth dynamics, click this, and then we'll do a separate session for that. Great. Cool. Okay, everybody. It's networking time. So the theme for today is I'm going to give you 3 minutes before we actually do the breakout rooms. key things to remember. Like, it's so easy to go into networking without a plan. Like, I know that Mark told you this last week. I've done it last month. I did it a couple of months ago. Having your plan is really important. So what we're going to do in networking? When you go into your rooms, remember, you've got your pitch. I would always recommend, like, somebody take the lead. I love doing a pitch round. So everybody just does their pitch one at a time. And then if you want, you can offer feedback. Really consider in the next 3 minutes before you break out into the rooms what you want out of this meeting and why. What's your intention? And then what is your follow-up and your next steps? That's really important, because if you don't follow up after networking, there's very little point in doing it. You really could just go off and scroll TikTok and make a cup of tea, or go swimming, or walk the dog, or go out for some milk. All of these things could work. But it would be much better if you really ask lots of questions of the people, got to know people, find out how you can help people, and then exchange details, follow up, make a real world follow up. Bye, Sarah. Sorry, Sarah. We'll it's because I've dragged on a bit. But here we go. So in 3 minutes, before we go into that, sorry, last one, on the theme of networking, so that you don't miss anything at all here from YPM, our last WhatsApp community had an issue. And as a result, we have started a new WhatsApp community. I think Ruby is going to put the WhatsApp community link in the chat. There you go. If you want to be in the WhatsApp community, it's basically where we share the most high value sessions that we do, all of the free sessions. We do some interviews and articles go in there. Like, it's interesting things, but it's not like the emails where there are lots and lots of them. I think, like, barely do we see 3 or 4 messages a week. It's just broadcast, so there's no chat or anything in there. It's just our way of making sure that you don't miss the best and most important things. So yeah, I encourage you to join the WhatsApp group. It's really, really useful. You won't miss anything that way. And Brian's just said, I used to be terrified of going out networking, but now I love it, although it still makes me nervous. It's funny, networking with other humans is a nerve-wracking experience. So Ruby, I think, is going to, as I just stop the screen share, here we go. I think Ruby is going to help us organize the rooms now. And I will jump from room to room and come in and say hi to everyone. And then maybe, I think, depending on how many people are on, we may come back at the end. So 3 minutes. Just have a little think about what you're doing on your networking, and then we will see you in the breakout rooms. Thank you very much.